And welcome back to Stanny Boy Reviews. I'm your host, Stanley. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out my channel and to talk about your favorite horror films and perhaps my favorite horror films. You guys, happy New Year. We made it. Welcome to 2023. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of concerned for the last half of 2022, but here we are. I'm gonna give myself a big old pat on the back because I deserve it. And you know what? Give yourself one too, because you probably deserve it as well. 2022 got hard there for a second. I'm really impressed with myself that I managed to keep this channel afloat all year long. I wasn't sure if this was something that I was going to stick with. I'm really pumped that I did. Sure, I took a little break here and there. Personal things happen, and I found my way back each time. Yay! I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of everybody. 280 something subscribers over this last year, all organically. Sure, I had to bribe some of you with used copies of Return of the Living Dead 3. But you guys stuck with me this entire year, and I just want to thank you from the bottom of my horror-loving heart, truly, for watching my reviews and just being here with me. So thanks. We are kicking this new year off right with 1991's popcorn. So go grab your popcorn. I'm already seated, you have a seat, and let's go to the movies, baby. But you know what? Let's just get this out of the way now. Please take this chance to subscribe and follow me on social media. I am on Instagram, I am on Twitter, and I am on TikTok. All right, guys, let's do it. Popcorn was supposed to be directed by Bob Clark, who is most famous for directing movies like Black Christmas, my favorite Christmas horror film ever, and A Christmas Story, which is my favorite Christmas movie ever. But he didn't want to direct another horror movie after Black Christmas, so he suggested one of his frequent collaborators, Alan Ormsby, who had worked with him on movies such as Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things and Death Dream. But that guy was later replaced by Porky's actor Mark Harrier because he was too detail-oriented, and although Clark had passed on directing, he would go uncredited as a producer, help out with the special effects, and be a second unit director throughout. And while Ormsby was replaced by Harrier, he would still get credit for directing the films within the film throughout the movie. Amy O'Neill, who played older sister Amy in the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movies, was hired to play the character of Maggie, but Jill Schoelen would replace her. We'll get to that later. The movie was written by a guy named Todd Hackett, aka Alan Ormsby, who just wanted to use a fancy pseudonym. It was released the first week of February in 1991 and was basically a bomb, coming in 8th at the box office, raking in just under $4.2 million during its theatrical run. We're looking at a 38% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 3.2 on Letterboxd. I mean, it's no, I still know what we did last summer. Like I've said in the past, who gives a fuck about Rotten Tomatoes anyway? But it's also not Titanic. So let's just get on with it, yeah, because there's a lot to dive into here. Popcorn is about a bunch of things. More specifically, it's about Maggie, played by Jill Schoelen. She's a budding screenwriter who goes to film school, who has bad dreams that she's trying to turn into the perfect script. Maggie's classmate, played by super cute Tom Villard, has the idea to put together an all-night horror movie marathon at a rundown movie theater called the Dreamland, so they can raise money for the university's dwindling film department. They're going to show old movies from the 50s where they can showcase gimmick effects, where they can shock the seats and stuff like that. While preparing for the marathon, they find an old unfinished cult film called Possessor, which just so happens to be the stuff of Maggie's nightmares, and what she also happens to be writing her current script about. Turns out, the director of Possessor, a guy named Lanyard Gates, was a psychopath who killed his family in the Dreamland Theater 15 years prior, while simultaneously shooting the final frames of Possessor, and then lit the theater on fire, killing everybody inside. He was never found or heard from again. Of course, on the night of the marathon, a maniac shows up with the hopes of finishing what Lanyard Gates had started. Are you ready? And said psycho has his eyes on Maggie to be the star of his own little twisted production. Could it be Lanyard himself? Will Maggie and all of her friends survive? Is Maggie a good final girl? Do any of us care enough? Was I invested? Yes and no. I will say, I did like this movie. There was just so much happening. There was a lot going on in Popcorn, and I don't think it knew what kind of movie it wanted to be. That would be Todd Hackett, Alan Ormsby, whoever wrote the screenplay, that would be their fault. And it was only an hour and a half, but goddamn, this movie felt like it was 3 hours long with everything that was going on. It could have been a really good film if it wasn't so messy, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it, because I did. It was entertaining. The premise was good. I loved the theater location. I really dug the Phantom of the Opera vibes. Honestly, anything set in a creepy ass theater theater, sign my ass up. I love that kind of stuff. I also liked the marathon, the way that everybody was dressed up in cosplay stuff. It reminded me of the conventions that I go to. The meta ongoings, the films within the film, all of that. Loved it. Definitely kept my eyes on the screen. And Tom Villard, oh, so cute. I loved him in My Girl. Grease 2 was a big part of me coming out when I was a kid. Oh, I think I'm gonna throw up. So seeing him in this movie was a big treat for me. I love him. He was probably my favorite part of the whole film. I would watch him watch paint dry. It's such a shame that we lost him at such a young age. I wonder what he would be like as an actor today. As for the qualms that I have, there are a few. I didn't like that we were introduced to random supernatural elements that weren't explored more thoroughly. Like, don't even bring them up. Or at least just give us explanation. It's just weak screenwriting. And I love Dee Wallace. Why was she in this movie? Why bother casting Dee Wallace and then underutilize her the way that they did? She is an amazing actress. They completely took advantage of her. No! And unfortunately, my biggest gripe here is Jill Schoelen. And I love her. I loved her in The Stepfather. All of the films that she's in as a scream queen. I love When a Stranger Calls Back, which came out after this. Here she is just sleepwalking. She's so lazy. All of her line delivery. I remember the whole thing. Her whole performance is just so blah. You can't blame the script when the actress is so blatantly bored. And that was clearly the case here. Wake up, girl. You weren't doing anyone a favor by sauntering around. Had she been a little bit more coherent, I think the movie would have worked a lot better as a whole. Because you want to care about the final girl, especially in a movie like this. This is a movie that definitely could benefit from a remake. I wonder why Amy O'Neill dropped out of this. I think that this might have been a different movie with Amy O'Neill. With some script tweaking, Popcorn could have been something really special. There was just weird plot holes and, you know, not to say that it's at the bottom of the barrel as far as horror goes, because it's not. But it's definitely not the cream of the crop. Ew, I can't believe I just said that. I don't think I've ever said that in my life. I will say I enjoyed the killer reveal. Oh, yes. I think the killer was pretty awesome. I loved the makeup. I loved the special effects, as weird and out there as they got. The story got kind of loopy, but I was here for it. So kudos to the screenwriter for getting away with some of the stuff he got away with. Because, yo, Popcorn gets kind of strange. I mean, it's called Popcorn. So... But it wasn't scary. It wasn't really funny. It was fine. So on Stanny's Stab-O-Meter, I give it 2.5 stabs. I'll probably revisit it again eventually in the future. I just wanted more. I wanted it to be better. I'm glad I sat through it, especially for Tom Villard. If I do recommend it to anybody, it is definitely for Tom Villard's performance. He's perfect. And whatever, Jill Schoelen, I still love you. But Jill Schoelen fans, watch anything else and you will appreciate any of her other performances more than you will appreciate this one. Just saying. So, what say you guys? Have you seen Popcorn? Did you like it? Let me know what you think in the comments. And what do you think of the poster? I think the poster is pretty rad. The poster might be better than the movie. That's it, guys. So I will see you again next week. Thank you so much for hanging out. Again, welcome to 2023. If you have any suggestions for any movies that you want me to review, please let me know. I will see you soon. Thanks for watching. Take care. Me. That's my face.